they had developed and patented a special barbecue sauce, which they brushed on the chickens, and they dug pits in the earth, and they would have charcoal fires going there. They would do a chicken barbecue for 1,000 people, or a big county fair or a carnival or something. So Nick got acquainted with them, and he wanted to know the formula for their special barbecue sauce. Well, they wouldn't give it to him, but they would give him a quart, let him analyze it. He was the chemist. So I don't know if he ever figured out what it was, but he had some friends of his built a barbecue grill for us, and then he started raising game hens, Cornish, it's a tiny breed of hen. So we had those one year. We tried, when we still lived in Croydon, we tried raising chickens, which we eventually broiled. And of course with chickens you have a lot of feathers. You have to remove the feathers before you cook them. So that's kind of a mess. It's hard to do.
Who did that? Did you bring it somewhere, or you did it?
Oh, we did it. No, we did all this. But so we did chickens one year. He tried turkeys, and here again he'd send away to a Penn State extension and order a booklet, how to raise turkeys, or whatever he needed to know. This would be information from the experts in the field who had written a booklet which would be, maybe 10 pages long, not difficult. So we had turkeys. They were, I would say, not a success because they got too fat. And you have to raise them on wire. They can't be on the ground. They get sick. So he built a pen, and they were 3 or 4 feet off the ground, living on chicken wire, walking around that. And they got so fat that they scraped their breasts on the wire. So when we killed them and picked the feathers off, they were sort of bruised. They weren't perfect, but tasted good, and we gave one to everybody we knew. I think we had about 7 or 8. But we decided it was easier to buy a butterball, or less expensive because of all the feed we had to buy. We had to purchase all kinds of grains and things for them to eat.
Plus, so you had some poultry meats, and you had sheep.
Mm-hmm.
So you had lamb.
Yeah.
And then you had vegetables in the garden.
And we tried a grapevine. That didn't work. The grapevine didn't have the right kind of grapes. We wanted the kind of grapes that you would have the leaves to stuff and make wada eneb. Which
grape leaves?
They're from California grapes, which are flexible and thin. We had Concord grapes, which is a tough leaf, doesn't roll up well. But we did have grapes. We made wine. My husband made wine.
Oh, wow.
That was not a big success either. So, but he tried, and he bought barrels, and that directive said that you have to cleanse the barrel by burning the inside and making it charred, like the charcoal would be something about the taste of the wine, the cleanliness, the purity of it. So he started making wine, but it didn't work out very well. And one time his boss called on the phone, and for something serious was happening at the factory. And Shelley, little kid, she rushed to the phone, and she was told not to answer it, but she did anyway. So she said, "Daddy can't come to the phone right now. He's in the cellar making wine." So that got a laugh out of everybody, because that was about the extent of it. He made wine, but we didn't drink much. It was too awful. But he went through all the processes. He knew what to do. And it turned out it was hardly alcoholic. It tasted more like vinegar.
Oh, no.
Oh, it was so darn sour. But he did try. And we also had bees. That was a big success. We had beehives, and the honey was just delicious because the bees ate. We had a tulip poplar, which is a poplar tree, a tall tree, which has a beautiful flower, a yellow flower shaped like a tulip. And the bees fed on that, so it was tulip honey. We called it tulip honey. It was deep, dark, rich, gorgeous, thick, lovely honey.
Who went out and got the honeycomb?
Oh, Nick did. He had all the equipment he needed. He had a mask. He had a smoker. You have this thing that you build a fire that'll smolder. You don't want it to burn. So that makes the bees sleepy so they don't bite you. You have to be careful because you could get stung.
Right, of course.
And he had the mask and the whole thing. It was like a man from another world going out with his equipment on. You have to have something that they can't get into too and sting you. So that was, but he really did some beautiful honey.
Did you sell it ever?
We could have, but we mostly gave it away. And they interviewed him for the Roman House newspaper, and we had pictures of Gail and Ginny and Shelley. I don't know where Gloria was at the time, but they were sitting at the table eating toast with honey. It was cute.
Oh, you have a picture of that, you said.
Oh, I do. Many. But so many things that we tried were a success, but limited because we didn't have that much land, really, the narrow lot. But we had every kind of a fruit tree you can imagine. Cherry tree, pear, apple, peach, white peach, and different varieties of apples, which came, they were ripened at a different time of year, or a different variety. And we had, one year he tried blueberries. We had a row of blueberries. Well, that didn't work too well because the birds love blueberries.
Oh,
so
no.
You have to get out and cover the blueberry bushes with cheesecloth or something protective. So, and one time I planted a lot of rose bushes, but they didn't do too well. The soil wasn't right. But Nick said, listen, if you can't eat it, don't grow it. So that was his thought of flower gardens. But we did have a steer. At one time we raised a steer, and we bought it with the neighbor Petzold, and they shared equally in the cost. And they bought the best steer they could find. It was a pedigreed animal. Its lineage was known.
Oh, wow.
It came from descendants way back of the finest beef you could buy. So we got the steer, and they had it in a pen. They fenced in fence over on Petzold's property. And the theory being that if they had it on our property, my kids might go and look at the steer and frighten it. It was very, very temperamental. And because it's going to be a beef cow, they have to castrate it. So it had an operation, so it was not too happy right at the moment. So they kept the steer over at Dave's house so that my kids wouldn't go and look at it and maybe scare it. So Dave Petzold's grandmother had a lot of friends who went.
Hold on.